somebody had gone into the very back of the fitting room and taken a massive. Hi, I'm Kat. Welcome back to my channel, or if you are new here, hi, welcome. I know in my last video I said that my upload schedule would be every Friday or Thursday, but I actually think that I want to upload twice a week, like every Monday and Friday. I'm thinking when you're watching this, it is Monday, so on Friday, expect a video from me because I have a very long list that I've been creating since the start of quarantine. And I think that if I post every Friday, I just won't have enough time to get through all of them. Like, I just want to do all of them because I have so much time on my hands right now. Sorry if there is a slight angle change. Once again, I'm in my haunted roommate's bedroom and my phone keeps crashing. And it only happens when I'm in this room. But anyways, it's not the kind of scary stories we're going to be telling today. We are going to be telling retail horror stories. I'm not gonna say where I worked because I am too poor to get sued, and it is a major clothing brand. I'm just not gonna name names or my place of work, also for privacy reasons. So I have a ton of stuff written down in a notebook, so we're just kind of I'm gonna kind of go through some of them. And I did work here for like 2.5 years, so I'm sure I have plenty more stories, and I have some friends that have some pretty crazy stories too. But let's start off with like some of the smaller ones. Let's start off with something that would happen to me frequently. Because of the place I worked, and because I live in a college town, I would get a lot of other students that were from out of state, or like parents visiting that were from out of state. And I guess in other states they don't charge sales tax, but in Arizona it's a pretty high sales tax from what I've heard, like compared to other places. Remember, I was at the register this one time and this girl was checking out. I guess it was more than what she wanted it to be, and she was like,
in my state they don't charge sales tax, so do you think you could just like take it off for me?
And she like whipped out her ID, and it was like, I don't even know where. And I was like, girl, I can't, I'm sorry. My next little kind of like thing, just messy shoppers. You'd get done like closing your area or picking everything up and making everything look super nice, and you'd be super proud of like how you folded your tables and everything's patted down, picked up off of the floor, and it just looks French kiss. And then you turn around and Miss Karen is throwing things everywhere and like pulling hangers up and like throwing clothes all over your table. Or like my biggest pet peeve is when families were shopping together and like the kids and the husbands and whatever would sit on the tables that have clothes on them, or push stuff off of the table so that they could sit on them or put their food on them. Like, I cannot tell you how many times I asked somebody to get off of the table, like to stop sitting on it because it's not a bench. Just common sense and common courtesy to not do that. You know what I mean? Let's get into some more intense situations. Let's talk about something a little bit dark. Working in customer service comes with an array of wonderful issues. I know even when I worked in restaurants, it'd be little things like, oh, you're puking your brains out. Sorry, we need people type of thing. But this kind of took it to the next step, and it is dark, but I'm okay now, and I'm okay to talk about it now. The first year that I was working there, I had like an insane amount of deaths in my family. And if you go back to my first video about those roommates that I had, you would already know that. So I obviously had to take a lot of time off for work because all these people that were passing away were really close to me, and they were immediate family. I went to work just like destroyed. I didn't have time in my life to grieve because I was dealing with those nasty roommates, and I was dealing with school, and now I had just started a new job, and so it was all a lot for me. And I was just going to like funeral after funeral like almost every other week. And eventually I started to hear that the higher ups thought that I was lying. And that really hurt me because a lot of my higher ups had taken the time to pull me aside to ask if I was okay. I had been under the impression that they all really cared about what was going on. And then I started to hear that they were talking about me behind my back. It was really weird for me to hear that adults much older than me were doing that. And I understand that you have a business to run, but at what cost to one single worker when you have an entire store that was fully staffed? But, you know, we worked through it, and I ended up working there for another 2 years. So let's get to some of the good stuff. You guys are probably watching this video because you saw part of the title. And yes, somebody indeed pooped in the fitting room. I remember coming in one morning to open, I think. Our stock were the people that cleaned almost every morning. And I just remember somebody going into the fitting room to open up that day. It was in a fitting room that we kept like extra racks in that was closed off to the public. Somebody had gone into the very back of the fitting room and taken a massive. So that was a really fun day. We had to clean up human feces. We had cameras in the store, so I don't really understand how they didn't catch the person. And this story kind of brings me on to my next topic, and that was when we would find pads and tampons in the fitting room. And you have to go into the fitting room after each person leaves to pick up trash, obviously just to clean up, because people always just leave their hangers in the fitting room. Be courteous, people. You'd have to feel the top of the mirrors because there's a crevice back there, and you'd have to find all of your security tags. One time I put my hand up there and I felt something sticky, and I pick it up. It's a pad. Oh my god, and we find tampons on the floor. Are you guys really that nasty? I also, many times before actual opening, I would go in and process damaged items. I was going through items one day. It hadn't even been an actual bodysuit that was placed in the damaged items. It was just on the cash register area. Those have to be clean. And so I pick up the bodysuit, and lo and behold, somebody I don't know, was having a bad leaky day. There was some stains in there. Many times that happened where we would find bodysuits with stains in them, and you just put on a pair of gloves and you damage it out. So that's really fun. Getting into my next topic, we had what I call the influencer lady. This woman comes over to me and she has a SKU number from the website, and we can look it up in the system to see what stores have it, and if we have it ourselves or if we're getting shipment. So she came up there and she gave me the number, and I was looking it up for her, and in the silence of me looking down at the computer, this woman starts telling me
oh, I have over 100,000 followers on Instagram.
And she just said that out of the blue, and I was like, oh, cool, what do you do? And she was like,
oh, I'm an Instagram model.
And I was like, oh, okay, awesome. And she goes,
usually companies would just give me this stuff for free. I have this jacket, and it's a much more expensive designer jacket.
And I was like, okay, so, and I'm thinking to myself, so does she want me to try and give her a free jacket because she claims to have a lot of followers on Instagram, or does she not want the jacket? And then when I told her that we didn't have the jacket in stores and it was an online only product, she stormed away, very angrily. Moving on, we have what I call the ultimate Karen. At our store, we had a rule: no more than 2 people in a fitting room at a time. This rule obviously excluded people that were disabled and needed extra help, or moms with their very young daughters, or babies and moms or whatever, but couples couldn't go in there. 2 teenage kids couldn't go into a fitting room at the same time. You weren't allowed to go into the fitting room with your best friend and change. This woman comes into the store with her daughter, who is my age. She looks my age. This daughter is gonna go change. She's gonna go try some clothes on. The mom goes in there with her. They're obviously too old to be in a fitting room together. She doesn't need help. The mom just wanted to go in there. So, and yes, I do assess the situation before I tell somebody our rule. So I go over there, knock on the door, and I was like, hey ladies, just so you know, we can only have one person in the fitting room at the same time. And then I didn't hear anything. So usually when that happens, I walk away for a little bit, because even if they don't respond, sometimes they'll come out of the fitting room. And nothing. So I wait a little bit. I go back over, I knock on the door, and I was like, hey guys, just want to let you know that we can't have two people in a fitting room at the same time. And she goes,
I heard you.
So then she comes out of the fitting room while her daughter finishes changing, and she is just insanely angry, insanely. Like, today I broke her. She looks at me and she's like,
you don't have to yell at us. You don't have to lecture us.
And at this time, like, as she's doing this to me, degrading me, I'm helping other people. And they were sitting there, like, giving this lady a dirty look. I just kept saying to her, I'm sorry, like, that's the store policy. I don't really know what to say to you. And I get really anxious in those situations. Daughter finishes changing. The mom also had to try some stuff on, but the mom didn't bring the stuff to me. I don't remember where she had left it. But then I always kindly ask her, like, do you think you could go ahead and grab, like, the items that you brought in, just so I can recount them? And she was like,
are you kidding me?
And she starts, so that all happened, and I get a fitting room for the, like, really nice, like, other young adults that were watching this all happen, that were really patient. They were incredibly patient. And this woman is walking away from the fitting room with her daughter, and she sticks up her middle finger behind her, and she goes as loud as she could. I was trying not to cry at this point. The two other young adults that just went in the fitting room were trying to, like, hype me up, and they were like, oh my god, that lady, she's so mean. And I was like, oh my god, you guys are right. Like, I have to do something about this. And so I don't have anybody else that I need to help in the fitting room except them. I just kindly asked them, like, do you guys think, like, when you're done you could put your stuff on the rack? And they're like, no, absolutely, we got you. And so I run over to the register to talk to one of my old managers. And if you remember this night, girl, please tell me, because this was insane. I run over to the register, and I hadn't realized that the mom and daughter had gotten in line to pay. And I'm over there, like, telling Mary, I'm like, this lady, she's walking over the register. She's gonna say something mean about me. I just know it. And I explain everything. And the lady gets up to the front, and I'm just, like, standing there, like, shocked, because I just said all this in front of her. And so my manager helps her out at the register, and this lady is complaining about me, and she looks right at me, and she was like,
you need to train your employees to have better customer service. She's sitting there lecturing me and my daughter.
This manager, she did not tolerate people talking down to her employees. This lady's like,
I want your district manager's number, I want her personal number, I want corporate's number.
My manager at the time, she had this very nice way of talking, of killing people with kindness, and she was like, okay, I understand, I will get it, and, like, also kind of telling her to, like, knock it off type of thing. But yeah, so those are some stories that I just, like, had written down today. Trust me, there are many, many more. And if you were somebody that worked with me, if you have any other stories that you want me to share, go ahead and let me know. Like, message me about it on Twitter or something, and I can make a part 2 to this if you guys actually really liked it. Make sure you guys subscribe to my channel and turn on post notifications. I'm going to be posting every Monday and Friday now, so don't forget to comment on this video and give it a thumbs up. It does really help me out. Thank you so much, you guys. I will see you on Friday. Bye.